He spent more time in courtrooms than perhaps any presidential candidate or former president in American history.
A criminal trial of a former U.S. president, Donald J. Trump. To be clear, Donald Trump is no stranger to the legal system. But what makes this a defining moment, say Weissman and Murray, is that he is facing 91 criminal charges in 4 different courtrooms.
In New York, in the so-called hush money case, Trump is accused of falsifying business records. In Washington, D.C. and Georgia, for allegedly conspiring to overturn the 2020 election.
And in Florida, for keeping classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago property. And what's at stake now for Donald Trump? Because overshadowing this tangle of trials is the fact that defendant Trump is also candidate Trump.
I think the country is going to rue the day that we ever travel down this road.
Robert Ray, a former federal prosecutor, successfully defended Trump when he first faced impeachment in late 2019.
What federal prosecutors want is they want the public to come to accept that the defendant was afforded fairness. I think that there's a good percentage of the country right now that doesn't believe that.
And that is why Professors Weissman and Murray put together what they say is an impartial guide to the Trump indictments.
There are facts that are disputed in criminal cases, and our job is to...
United States of America versus Donald Trump being heard in Washington, D.C.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States.
Last August, Jack Smith, the special counsel appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland, charged Trump with conspiring with others to interfere with the results of the 2020 presidential election.
The sort of gist of it is that you have a plot to disrupt the counting of the votes.
Like this one, accusing Democrats of stuffing ballot boxes. Smith also alleges the defendant lied to the Georgia Secretary of State to induce him to alter Georgia's vote count in that now famous telephone call on January 2nd, 2021.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
But former Trump attorney Robert Ray says a jury may hear that phone call differently.
Finding votes doesn't necessarily mean find me 11,000 fraudulent votes.
And adds that Donald Trump will argue he was exercising his right to free speech.
There's no First Amendment protection.
But that speedy trial that was scheduled to begin in a federal courtroom in Washington, D.C. tomorrow ran into a roadblock earlier this year after Trump's lawyers made a claim Donald Trump asserts he's protected from prosecution by presidential immunity. While that claim was initially thrown out by a federal appeals court, Trump asked the Supreme Court to weigh in. And in a win for Trump, just this past week, the justices agreed to hear arguments on the case in April.
There's no question that it is desirable politically for Donald Trump to delay these cases until after the election, for obvious reasons. He's entitled to take that position.
But as much as they have tried, Donald Trump's lawyers have not been able to delay or dismiss this case. The people of the state of New York against Donald Trump.
Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records.
Election fraud.
The defendant claimed that he was paying Michael Cohen for legal services performed in 2017. This simply was not
treason. Jurors chosen for Trump's trial will likely remain anonymous. And no cameras will be allowed inside the courtroom. What's more, unlike his previous civil trials, Donald Trump will be required to be in here instead of on the campaign trail.
They cheat. This is about defending his rights, him showing up in court and being able to mount a vigorous defense to the charges against him.
That won't keep him from holding court outside, as he did after a recent hearing.
Nobody's ever seen anything like it in this country. It's a disgrace.
Is he going to try to use this case as part of his campaign message?
Of course he will. He has done that with regard to every other stage of these prosecutions, why would the trial be any different?
Manhattan DA Bragg has already asked the judge to rein Trump in with a partial gag order.
They cheat.
But Ray blames the prosecutors for taking a candidate to trial just months before a presidential election.
They cheat.
Are you saying that former...
No, but I'm saying that the unusual circumstance that we find ourselves in is that we've got 4 pending indictments in an election cycle. That is a result that I think most people would agree is undesirable. I think there are questions about whether or not Donald Trump can get a fair trial in the District of Columbia, as there are whether or not he can get a fair trial in Manhattan, given the potential juries.
I think very few jurors go into there like, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, and I think they go in there like,
if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
But if I see tens of thousands of ballots being manipulated, I can't go along with that.